Good day and welcome to a new update, and in this update we're going to cover an important topic, which is what should you do now. Today is the day of the FED and the FOMC meeting, which is going to be very important, and it's going to give an idea of where the markets are going to move to, especially given the fact that the panic is super high going into the actual event, as the expectations are that we're going to get quantitative tightening and multiple hikes of the interest rates. But we're also seeing an extreme amount of fear in the markets overall, whether or not justifiable, and that has been making the markets go down even more, through which the indicators are showing that it's overextended to the downside. So we're going to cover a topic today regarding the fact of what you should be doing with your positions. So let's head towards that. But before we're going to continue, make sure to subscribe beneath, like this YouTube update. Also make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, where you can find daily content on the markets. So there are several options that you could be having. You could be exposed entirely towards altcoins, and then the question rises up whether you should be selling your altcoins towards Bitcoin, as that is probably what you want to do at this stage, given the fact that altcoins have been dropping down more than Bitcoin. Also, Ethereum against Bitcoin has been having a drop of approximately 20 to 25%, and then the BTC against USDT drop has also been taken into account, so they are down like 60%. But if you are into a position of altcoins at this stage and you're considering the fact of swapping them towards Bitcoin, I do not believe that that is going to be the right option. If you go through the actual cases at this point, yes, we could be going down even more with Bitcoin at this stage, especially if the news comes out tonight. But what are the odds for a downwards move if everyone is already expecting, or the market in itself is already anticipating and expecting a downwards move to happen, given the fact that there will be quantitative tightening and multiple hikes? So the actual impact has already probably been priced in. So what are the odds of another drawdown to be happening at this stage? Well, I don't know, but I think that the odds of a bounce are still there, given the fact that the overextended downwards move has been taking place and the price action of the altcoins and Bitcoin has been going towards higher time frame support. And we've also been seeing equities bouncing back up. So if you want to swap altcoins towards Bitcoin, it might make sense to do that if you are expecting the markets to go down from this point. But given the fact that we are into that higher time frame support, they are most likely going to have a bounce taking place, and in that case altcoins will bounce even stronger, which we'll be seeing in the update in a little bit. Also, if you have Bitcoin and you're seeking for entries on altcoins, I think you can use it slowly at this stage, given the fact that if we bounce, they will be bouncing back stronger. Another tip that I could give towards you is that we're heading towards the actual event taking place tonight, or the news is coming out, and the entire world and the markets are waiting for that to actually come out. And as a result of that fact, we are going to see volatility happening today. That volatility will most likely give a fake out first. So what you're expecting to see is that we're going to get a move in one way during the actual speech or during the news that comes out, and that is probably going to take the liquidity out of the markets from that side, and that reverses to the way that it is going to be taking place. I've seen it happen quite often. So let's say the strategy for you should be to avoid making emotional decisions, because why are we going into one way and then the other one? That is because of the fact that emotions are taking into place and are going to make decisions during that moment. And as the entire world is watching for a trade to be happening at that point, we're going to probably see a ton of volatility and a ton of volume too. So if you have altcoins, I do not believe that it's time to swap to Bitcoin unless we are going to have a break south. If you're having Bitcoin, I think you might be wanting to expose a little bit towards altcoins, as they will be bouncing back stronger. But as you know, if you're exposing yourself towards altcoins a little bit more, the risk is also increasing. So do it with portfolio management. If you're into USDT only, I think that the chances are there to build your position only slowly, because we still need to see confirmation of an actual bottom to be taking place. But at least the upwards potential could be like 30 to 50% on altcoins, and on Bitcoin, for instance, around 10 to 20%, which is a gain that you always want to search for, and the downwards risk is relatively low as you can just put in a stop loss. So that is what I would advise to do. And overall, I think that the core is to just remain calm when it comes to trading today, as it can be very volatile and can be very tricky, and it's one of the hardest days to actually trade on, especially with all those fake outs. So let's get towards the charts, in which we cover this topic for a little bit, and then we can continue towards the live stream tonight. So tonight at 7:30 p.m. Central European Time, I'll be going live to cover the FOMC meeting and the results. Let's head towards the charts. So very simple, but if we're looking at the price action of Bitcoin, and be reminded this update has been made yesterday, so the price action might be a little bit different. What we can see is that we've had a pretty harsh correction or pretty harsh downwards move of Bitcoin taking place, right? So this entire move has made Bitcoin drop approximately 20%, in which we are having some retests taking place, and we are having some sort of upwards momentum, yesterday at least, in which we reclaimed 36 and are testing the highs, and we could be testing 38 even. But that's not the point. What we are seeing overall is that if we go towards altcoins at this stage, we can see that the altcoin pain is even worse, given the pain that we've been seeing here, which is approximately 43% on Curve alone. So Curve against Bitcoin has been showing this weakness too, in which we have been seeing this heavy downwards trend, and we're currently into a potential area of support and are expecting a bounce to be taking place. So the downwards corrections are worse than when you're looking at Bitcoin, because of the simple fact, if people are trading crypto, most of them are in altcoins, they see the altcoins drop down, they see Bitcoin drop down, and they are starting to sell their altcoins. There's less volume into those altcoins, there's less needed to actually make it drop, especially since most of those altcoins have staking opportunities, etc. So the volume needed to actually make it drop is lower, and because of the fear and that reason, actually in thin order books, it starts to drop down more than Bitcoin, as people are seeking their positions towards USDT. They are selling their altcoins towards USDT, but they're also selling their altcoins towards Bitcoin. It works the other way around too. So if we're going to make that bounce, Bitcoin could be having a bounce from like 33 to 40, makes it approximately 20%. But if we're looking at an example as Curve, for instance, we can be expecting a bounce taking place from 235 to even $4, making it a bounce of 70%. So even though in these markets we can gain money or we can make money, and that's what we should be looking for. So if you're into altcoins at this point, or if you're into Bitcoin at this point, I think it's an easy time to start making some justifiable decisions, and I think that the ROI can be made on the upside instead of the downside. That's the update today. Tonight at 7:30 p.m. Central European Time, I'll be going live on this YouTube channel. Subscribe beneath. Make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram too, and I'll see you again later today. Have a wonderful one.